Now, as for sources, where do I get my sources? Well, most of them is from books. I do get some from websites. Most of them are academic websites. They'll have even original sources, as well as these books will list original sources as well, quotations and stuff. So here's a bunch of books right here, and I'll start listing them pretty soon on my videos, future videos. I'm probably going to remake some of these videos, probably be a little bit better quality, and I'll have the sources of what I'm talking about, at least most of it listed right there. And I get, you have the Knight, Noble War of England, 1200 to 1600. Well, this is the Roman one. This is medieval warfare. Aztec conquistadors talk about it a little bit. It's pretty interesting too, and the tactics the Spanish used. They even talked about how the foot soldiers in Europe had plate armor and things. It was pretty common. Now this one has quite a bit of detail on arms and armor that I like. It does talk quite a bit about munitions grade as well, and even mentions and talks about how plate armor became extremely common by the 1400s, where foot soldiers and knights were very much alike in a lot of ways. And this, it just went through the centuries. So by 14 and 1500s, a lot of foot soldiers resembled knights, it says here. Even poor knights, you couldn't tell them apart almost, except for the knights had, a little more, bells and whistles on their armor. And this one is a pretty decent one too. This also talks a little bit about it as well. I, did some markings here from, a long time ago when I used to read this stuff. So this is where I'm getting my sources. This one is very interesting, and this has some primary sources, if I'm not mistaken, in here. It's been a while I read this, but it's quite interesting. It talks about warfare, communications, armor, and things like that. So yeah, like this one is a decent one, weapon, and you read along, and it eventually talks about the thickness and stuff. This one is quite interesting. This is mostly about knightly art of combat, how to fight in armor. It does talk a little bit about the manufacturing armor a little bit. I think it was in the last pages somewhere. It talked about how you had entire towns with armories. Just one small town, I believe, could produce enough armor for an entire army. So I'm assuming it's like 30,000 men or 10,000 men or something in about a week, I think. I don't remember. I gotta look at it again. But it's very interesting. And so munitions grade armor is very possible and mass produced, in heavy quantities, in giant quantities. So, this is about ancient Rome and Greece. That's very interesting. Warrior here, warriors. This one's warrior. This has some battles listed, as well as talks about arms and armor. I mean, just about any book does. This one is more about medieval culture and in the history of medieval Europe. And it dismisses a lot of myths. I actually used this for college when I was taking these courses. So it dismisses a whole lot of myths about medieval times, especially when you just read all this stuff in general, but especially here. This really talks about the culture and things that they did. It's very interesting. I recommend these books. And, it's medieval Europe was quite advanced. Actually, is way more advanced than people think. But that's a different topic for another time. Anyways, these are just where I get my sources from. And just, if you're curious. So yeah, trust me, bro. I know what I'm talking about.